morning, everyone. Yeah, before today's class, so I'd like to introduce the idea, the definition I didn't introduce before. It's about synchronous and asynchronous. Right. So synchronous means things happen on the same time, and asynchronous means things that happen on a different time. And in the JavaScript, all the functions or code inside it actually have two types: synchronous and asynchronous. All the functions we've seen before, they are synchronous. What does that mean? So see the examples on the screen here. It has a console log 1, console log 2, and console log 3. The code here, those three functions are synchronous. So if I run the function here, it's going to execute the code from top to bottom, one by one. So I'm going to get in the 1, 2, and 3. I need to save the file. So if I run the code, I get a 1, 2, 3. So it's JavaScript running the code here from top to bottom. Console 1, console 2, and console 3. Means they are synchronous. There's no any hold the functions for a second later or for 2 seconds later, things like that. And other than the regular functions, there are some synchronous functions. For example, there is a predefined function called set timeout. Set timeout. This is a function that takes two things, and this is a asynchronous function. What does that mean is, so this function takes two things. It takes a function and takes a time. In this case, it's going to run this function alert hello after 3 seconds. Right, so display an alert box after 3 seconds. Result here means result means seconds, which is 3 seconds. Right. So set timeout and take function. This function, what inside the function is alert hello. So this, if we put this one inside the JavaScript, it's going to give us a alert box after 3 seconds. Hold the function for 3 seconds and then run it. So let's see another example here. Right. Here is a similar example like console log 1, console log 2, and console log 3. This time, we have console log 1 set time out, takes the function console log 2 and 1 second. So that means we have a console log 1 and we have a console log 2 and we still have a console log 3. And do you think we're gonna still getting a 1, 2, 3 here? Any idea?
Yeah, you'll still get it.
Let's try it out. Right, that's right. Oh, I need to save the file, sorry. Save the file, clear it up. Right, so run code. 1, 3, after 1 second, I get 2. So I'm not getting a 1, 2, 3, I'm getting a 1, 3, 2. That's because the set timeout. Remember, that's going to wait for 1 more second. And then we execute the code, the console 2 here. So you can see the code here is not executed from top to bottom anymore. It's console 1, and it has a timeout there, console 2, but the system won't wait for that to finish. It's just, okay, after 1 second, I'm going to come back to this one. And let's do the next line first. So it's going to do console log 1, console log 3, 1 second, after 1 second, come back to do the console 2 there. This is like, it's called like a callback. That means, okay, I see there's timeout here. Alright, this is 1 second. Okay, I'm just leave that there. Let me just go do something else and come back here. This is what is called asynchronous. Things are not happening at the same time. There's a set timeout is asynchronous function. Okay, I see this is an asynchronous function. So let me just wait for 1 second and come back here. Alright, so let's try it again. Right, so if I run the code, you can see have 1, 3, and after 1 second I can get 2 back. Right, this is what happened. And another interesting feature is, like, let's see another example. Right, this time we have the same code, but for the set timeout, I put the time zero become 0 seconds. What do you think the output will be? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2.
2, 1, 3.
2, 1, 3. I just randomly guessing. Yeah, so cancel out 1 and then set timeout with 0 seconds. Cancel out 2 and cancel out 3.
So cancel out.
Just randomly guessing, right? So let's say check it. how it can be an array, right? So run the code. I'm still getting a 1. Oh, I did save the file. Let's save the file. Clear it up. Run code. I'm still getting 1 through 2. Why? It seems like the cancel out 2, I'm waiting for 0 seconds. Why my code is still skipping that and come back later? So the reason for that is when there is any asynchronous function, no matter what time it is, again, either it waits for 0 seconds, wait for 1 second, the JavaScript will skip it for now. And it will finish all the synchronous function first, and then come back to all the asynchronous function, no matter what time it is. Even that says, I'll just wait for 0 seconds here. Okay, I don't care how long I'm gonna wait, I'm just gonna skip it for now, and when I finish all the main functions, and then come back. Set timeout is a function, is a asynchronous function here, and later we're gonna see more asynchronous functions. So if you in some cases like why the next line code runs before the first one, you're gonna know like maybe that's a asynchronous function. Let me Google it, see if that is a asynchronous function. Right, and we also have the ways to force it, the code to waiting for this one to finish before we go to the next one. Later we'll get into that. Here just give you a definition and about asynchronous and asynchronous. Right, synchronous and asynchronous. Alright, so let's go back to the bookmarks we were doing yesterday. This is our bookmarks we were doing yesterday. And then let's open the terminal to run the application. Right, so npm start. You can leave this terminal open while you're coding, and if you just close it, the application will be stopped. So let me show you what I mean here. npm start is going to start the whole application. Yeah, because I'm recording a video and sharing screen, so it's kind of slow here. Yeah, I need to update this computers for me. Close that, close that. So it should be there shortly. Okay, here we go. So after I do the npm start, it will opening the page for me, right? The application I have, and but you need to remember to keep this terminal open. You can hide it if you click on this close panel. It will hide it. But if I close this, click on this kill terminal to kill it, to close it, right? So it will stop the whole application. Once I do that, and the application is not refreshing by itself and it's not actually working. If you try to refresh it, it's just not gonna work anymore. It just the site cannot be reached. Right, so you make sure you keep the npm start running by itself. It's a command hosting the like a live server is hosting the website there to make sure it is keep running. and make sure you're able to visit it. Right, so don't stop it. So some students would come to me yesterday say why this clicking stops working. So you need to leave this terminal opening there. Alright. So yesterday we have two remaining questions about this application. Like the delete button is not working. Delete is not working. One thing is the delete is not working. Another thing is the filter is not working. Alright. The way we fixed it is in the delete. Okay, this is already the version I fixed. Right, so in the delete, so about line 53 here, remove bookmarks. We created a new bookmarks equal to the bookmarks. This is the reason why the remove is not working. We cannot just directly say they are equal. We need to make a clone of it. So I'm gonna make a new array with all the elements inside the bookmarks. Right, so using a split operator, make a array with all the elements in the bookmarks, and this will fix the problem of the remove, right, which is in line 53 here, in the remove bookmark function. Right, it's a little bit tricky here. And for the filter, yeah, the filter is a little bit tricky as well. We need to, let me see. We set the filter and set the filter use state. We're gonna talk more about the states soon. I went a little bit too fast this time, so I'm gonna when we do the next project, we're gonna talk about more about the states. So for the filter here, we have the filter and set filter to states, and here we have we're gonna create a use effect. Right, this one is the code I just added yesterday. So we'll have a use state, a use effect. Like that means like it's gonna run. It's use effect. It takes a function. It will run that function when the item, the second parameter changes. The second parameter here is I pass in a filter here. That means that when the filter changes, we are going to run this function. And this function is basically the function we are trying to use to update the list of arrays of bookmarks here. Right, we're gonna see the same example when we do the contact list today. So I'm doing a filter here to filter out all the bookmarks that's a name to uppercase includes the filter's name to uppercase. So that means if the name to uppercase includes the filter into uppercase, so we'll keep it. Otherwise, we'll just filter it out. And the one last thing we did here is we adding another yeah, let me just redo it from yesterday's code. Actually, I have this code from Slack, right? Let me just copy the code from here and redo it in the Slack. I have the code here, and let me just copy this one and update from here. Right, this is code that we left off yesterday. And with this code, the delete is not working. Right, so let me just try to end in the M symbol, and in the Facebook, and delete is not working. Yeah, it's not working. So let's firstly fix the delete. It's in the function remove bookmarks. Looking for the function remove bookmarks. It is, where is that? Remove bookmarks. Set bookmarks. Use effect here. Remove bookmarks. Right. So this one. Here, new bookmarks is that should be equal to a copy of bookmarks. So I'm gonna put an array and put the here. That means make a hard copy of bookmarks. Right, make it as a new array with all the elements inside bookmarks. So that's how to fix the remove problem. So right now, remove should work. Right, so I can remove Facebook, and I can add it back. And the filter, to make it filter work, so right now filter doesn't do anything. We need to create, instead of using the, so right now what's showing at bottom is we are mapped through all the bookmarks, right? If you remember the yesterday we have a map here. We map through all the bookmarks, and to show the content that we have there. So instead of showing all the bookmarks, we are actually going to make a new state. Instead of using the bookmarks, we're gonna make a copy of it. So we're gonna make a constant. We're gonna call it bookmarks copy. And again, we need a set bookmarks copy equal to use state. All right, start with an empty array. Right, and let's go down a little bit here. Actually, let's just end it right here. So, what I need to initialize this copy, bookmark copy, from the bookmarks. So what I would do here is let me see. We can just end it inside the here. Let me see. This is what we have. Let's go down to the line 31 about the use effect here. Right, here we have use effect. Again, use effect. What it does, it takes a function, and it will execute the function when the bookmarks changes. And when the bookmark changes, we also want to initialize a copy of bookmarks. So we're gonna see the set bookmarks copy is set that into the bookmarks. I make it equals to the bookmarks array. And this is a little bit tricky. The whole bookmark function, the application is harder than I thought when I did it yesterday. So now when I map through at bottom here, we're not gonna map through the bookmarks. We're gonna map through the bookmarks copy here. Right, instead of bookmarks, we map through the bookmark copy, and it should still work the same way because bookmarks is basically a copy of bookmarks. And what did it should still work. It's working. Everything is working as usual, but we're just not showing. What we're showing on the bottom is actually not the bookmarks. It's bookmarks copy. All right. The reason we do that because like when I filter it, I will change the bookmarks copy, but I don't want to change the original bookmarks because that the bookmarks is from local storage. It's what is stored there. I don't want to. I don't want to rewrite it when I just do the filter. So. Another use effect we have right after the first use effect, we have another one. This use effect is gonna happening when the filter change. Right, when the filter change. Filter, remember filter is a variable connected to the input here. Connected to this input here. So when I type something, I want to filter out the list here. Right, so we're gonna do a filter here. So for the bookmarks copy, I should be set bookmarks copy. Right, set bookmarks copy. Just want to reset it. Right, so that into. Right, so what I put into this parenthesis is going to replace the current bookmarks copy. So I'm gonna set it to the current bookmarks dot filter. I do a filter on the original bookmarks. What I want to filter out? I want to filter out the ones we don't have the name. So we want to filter out. Filter takes a function. Right? When the function returns true, we keep the item. When the function equals false, we hide the item, remove the item. Alright, so for each bookmark, we want to check, want to return if the bookmark, the name is equals to, not equal, the name, let's transfer that to uppercase. To name to uppercase. This is the same thing we did when we're using the vanilla JavaScript. Right, we just transfer that to uppercase and check if that includes the filter input, filter dot to uppercase. Right, so when this one equals to true, we keep it to uppercase. Do I have any typo here? Oh, it's dot, not common. Name dot to uppercase. Right, so it should make the filter works right now. If I search, it says it works. I can search from Facebook, meme symbol, type something else, just hide everything. Right, so the filter works this way. Right, so I'm gonna share the code in the Slack about this one, so you can copy from that. And I want to talk a little bit more about the filter, because some students getting confused about when I start using the filter function. So let me give you another example of the filter. Right, let me open an empty file for a second, and let me share the code first. So I'm gonna share the finished code inside the Slack, so you can directly copy that if you want. This just basically give you a chance to getting familiar with the code we're doing here. Right, so I'm sharing the code in the Slack, and before we move to the next step, I want to talk a little bit about the filter function. I'll give you another easier example, make it easier to understand. Right, so let's say if I have array, right? If I have array constant, my array, it has a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until 10, right? An array of 10 numbers, and I can do I want to do a filter out all the numbers smaller than and bigger than 5. I want to keep all the numbers from 1 to 5. Right, so what I can do is constant my new array is equal to my original array, the filter. I can call filter on it. Remember, filter takes a function. When function returns true, we keep the number. Right, I'll take the function here. Function. I put function here. And for all my integers inside this array, I want to check return if the integer is smaller than 6, right? That when this one is true, the number will be kept. Otherwise, it's going to be removed. And then this console.log my new array. See what we have, what we still have inside it, and run the code. I'm getting an array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when this one gives me true, right? So it's gonna run this function. It's gonna run this function for each number inside my array. And when this one gives me a true, it's gonna keep the number. Otherwise, it's gonna filter those numbers out. Does that make sense? Right, so filter takes the function, right? This is input for the filter, and the filter will run this function on each item we have in the array. So you're gonna check return 1 smaller than 6, that is true, we'll keep it. 2 smaller than 6, that is true, we'll keep it. 3 smaller than 6, that is true, we'll keep it. And when it goes to 6, 6 not smaller than 6, we're gonna filter it out. 7 is not, we're gonna remove it. 8 is not, remove it. 9 is not, remove it. And until this goes through all the items inside the filter, it's gonna finish it. We can also do it with a for loop. Right? We can do it with a for loop, like with a for loop checking. If the number is bigger than 6, we just remove it. But a filter is a shorter syntax for that. It's called high ordered function. So this is done with a filter, and if we want to do it with for loop, it's the same thing. So we can do a for loop, constant my new array that equals empty array, right? We can do that. The for let I equal to 0, I smaller than my array dot length I plus plus. Alright, so say if my array's ith item is smaller than 6, we push that into the my new array. The push the my array's ith item. And this is a longer version of the filter. It's the same, but it's the same idea. Alright, when that is 1.6, we push it, and otherwise we just don't do anything. So this should give a same result here, from 1 to 5. Right, this is basically equivalent. As you can see, like the filter is much shorter than the for loop. And we can keep make it even shorter. So we can change the function into an arrow function. So remove the function key here and change that into the arrow function. It's getting a little bit shorter. And because we only have one input, we can get rid of the parentheses. Even shorter, right? And because let's only have a return inside its function, so we can make it shorter by changing the curly brace into parentheses and remove the return keywords. And it's become like that. Also the semicolon. Right, so we can make it much shorter than using the traditional for loop. So again, like when this return true, it keeps the number. It's the same idea, but it's just a shorter syntax. And if you want, you can also get rid of the parentheses. I guess it also works. And still getting the from 1 to 5, same thing. Just make it much shorter. Right. So this is how filter works. When the function, yeah.
The function my new array, you could have called it something else.
Yes, of course you can call it something. You can call it anything you like.
Okay.
That is just a variable name.
Okay.
Right. Any question? Right. So we're gonna keep moving to the bookmarks. So right now we have the bookmarks application works as an older one, right? It's the same functionality, the same thing. Everything is working. And my next step is see again I don't see any improvement between this one and the old one. Maybe it's even harder the code here, like a lot of code here. And another reason we're using the React is it can help us to organize our code. We're allowed to separate my JavaScript code into multiple files to make it more readable. Alright, so you can see here is in my index.js here, right? And everything we have is in the function app. Our function app contains everything from here to the bottom. A function app, right, from here to the bottom. So we actually want to separate that into different files. I'd like to create a new file in the source folder. Let me make it bigger. Right, in the source folder, I want to create a new file. I'm going to call it app.js. I'm going to copy this app function into it. App function, I'm going to copy that one. Right, just a whole function. About cut it. Right. So make it into the app.js. Separate it into two files. and then we connect them together. Right? So inside the index.js, if I want to using the app.js code, right, I can just say please import the app function from / the app.js, and .js can be removed because the default setting, if you just say app, it knows that's a JavaScript file, so you don't need to mention it's JavaScript file. We import the app function from this app.js file, and it's just gonna what this line does is it's just gonna bring this whole 100 lines code inside the function, but it makes it more readable. All right, and now you may get some errors here. Says /app doesn't contain a default export because you need to export it before you are able to import. So let's go back to the app.js to export it. I'm gonna go to the bottom. I'm gonna say I want to export the default app. Now it's the error gonna be gone, right? And we're getting some other errors. This is use state is not defined, right? Because the import use state is still in the index.js. So we're gonna remove this two here. We're not gonna using this one in the index.js. We're using them in the app.js. So we're gonna put it here, right? Instead of putting it in the index.js, we're gonna put it here. So before the function, we're gonna import React and for the curly brace, two functions, use state and comma use effect from the React library, comma React library. Right, it's going to fix the issue for that too, and the function is still working. Right, so everything is still working, but we successfully moved the code, separate code into two files, make it a little bit more readable. I'll give it 10 minutes to try it, and let me know if it code. Now your code has two files, and you may see there's a warning inside the console. It says the React hooks use effect has missing dependencies bookmarks. It's in the line 43 of app.js. Let's go to line 43 here. It basically just asks you to add the bookmarks as a dependency here. So you can basically add in after the filter, add in bookmarks. Because the reason it's warning you because inside this use effect, we are using the bookmarks. So it suggests to you to please put the bookmarks as a dependency. That means when the bookmarks changes, we also want to run this city effect. And it can literally, most cases, you can just directly add it there, and it won't change anything. So it's still working, but the warning is removed. Right, and the bookmarks here. So since bookmarks is missing, seems like you are using the bookmarks inside this use effect, but that's not the dependencies. You can just add it there. Make it work. All right. Fix the warning. All right. So now everything is working again. Before we keep moving, let's jump to another topic really quick. All right. So I'll talk a little bit about the debug. So I see the many students getting error when you writing a code, and let's talk a little bit about how to solve those errors. It's very important. So let's first see when you're getting an error, what kind of errors you may get. The first kind of error is an error message. Right. So the error message is inside the console or inside the code. Like inside the console here, you may get it says like maybe you have typo here. And you're gonna see a file to compare, getting error message here. That's the first kind of error. That's really basically it's because of a syntax error. You write something, something like a spelling issue or something like that, the app's gonna crash. It's not compiled successfully. That's the first kind of error, syntax error. And maybe you have something like undefined, like for example, this one's supposed to be an empty array, empty string, and you forget to put it, and it may give you an error. And if something similar, you mean like a, for example, the names should be set name, but they put the 0 here, and it's just gonna sometimes it's causing the issue, fail to compile. Right, gonna be careful about that things. And avoid errors failing network. Right, this is not usually happened, but in here. But if you like, maybe while you're doing stuff, and you lose your network in the middle, and you may also getting errors. Those things gonna be showing as error message in your app. So those are the very easy things to find out. Like it's gonna tell you the network is down, or tell you where you have syntax in which line. Right. Let's keep going. We have some like logic errors. Right. I've seen this logic errors many times. For example. Right. So when you, for example, about the array we were working on here, right? About like a filter out all the numbers smaller than, or trying to filter out all the numbers bigger than 6. Right. I want to keep all the numbers smaller than 6. I want to keep it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And sometimes you're gonna make it logic errors. Instead of like smaller than 6, you put bigger than 6. The code doesn't give you any error, but it's not working as the way you expect it. So this is really hard to find out. You need to go through the logic one step to check out like where the possible errors may come from and find it out. Alright, so this is another kind of errors. And some kind of unhandled user behavior. So this can be examples of this can be, the localhost. Let me go to my page. So right now we don't this is something we don't handle very well, because we expect the user to using our apps normally, but we're not sure how they're gonna use it. Maybe they just click submit button without enter the name and URL. Click submit, and it just enter something empty. User may use it as something the wrongly use our application. We're gonna think about those things. We haven't handled this here. We may handle it in the future. Like we'll don't allow the user to submit the empty name and empty URL here. They're gonna causing the issue sometime. Alright, so that's unexpected user behavior. And the sequence of steps lead to errors. Right, so this is usually happens because of there is a asynchronous function inside your code. You actually want that to be running first, but the way JavaScript handle it is going to run it afterwards. So we're going to see the examples of this soon and teach you how to solve it. And some lighter errors can be the styling, layout error. That means just the code, your page doesn't have a good layout. Maybe just you put the whole bookmarks like very small on the left, or you mistype the class name, or something that can make a style doesn't look good. Right? That's something also easy to figure out. It's all about CSS or Bootstrap. Right, so yeah, and also you need to make sure your page also looks good on the small devices. On the mobile phones, when the screen gets small, you should make sure that it works fine. Yep.
What's the difference between what we have now and those React.js for the
Huh?
What's the difference between this and
what? It's the same thing. It's exactly the same job. What we're looking at is a React.
This is not new.
It is.
What is that?
That is React.
How do I get this here?
Can you what?
This page here.
This is the thing I created.
You created.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Alright, so how to debug? It should be how. It's a typo there. So we of course we read the error messages to see if it tell you which line the code the error is happening. And if that can solve the issue, that's good. If not, we're gonna using the console log to check in the code step by step, see which line has errors. right? And if that's also not working, usually it's gonna, most cases it's gonna solve the issue, right? And I've already seen many students didn't even do the first step, like when there's error message showing up. It's maybe error message showing in the console. Make sure your developer tools is your console is always open to see if there's any error, right? So that's the first step. If you already finished the first step, you're gonna using the console log to check in the code step by step. Make sure everything is happened as you expected to solve all the logic issues, right? And if this one is not working, we're gonna give you the some some hints about the last step here. This one takes some more skills to solve by the debugger, but we actually in most cases we don't need a debugger. We just need the console log to solve it, right? So yeah. So back to our topic about bookmarks. So now we have the app.js and index.js, right? So we literally the code go from the index HTML, go to the index.js, and go to the app.js. Right. So we only have one page. It's called index.html. It have a div with ID root, and we connected with the index.js. In the index.js, we mentioned I want to rendering the app.js inside it. That's the only thing we have, and the app.js is connected with it. App.js. It contains all our code right now. App.js. And to make the code more make it easier to maintain in the future and easier to read in the future, right? And we can also separate the app.js into the small components. For example, the code, the page you have here, right? Say we have the on top we have a form that can be a component, and we have a filter that can be a second component, and maybe we can have the filter and the list here as a second component together. Right? We can have this form to be a component, because basically this form and the list on the bottom, they are two different parts. And we also have a footer here. Says 2019 bookmarks that can be the sort component. We can separate our code into smaller components to make it easier to read. Right? Let's give you an example how can we separate this whole HTML page into 3 different components and combine them together from different files. So in app.js we have everything together. And I'm going to go to my source folder, create another folder here, right click it, create a new folder inside it. We're going to call it components. And we're going to add in a few more smaller components inside it. The first one, create a new file inside it. I'm going to call it footer.js. It contains my footer. It contains my footer. So I can have a function. Actually, we need to import the React first. Import React from React. And let's create a footer function. Function footer. Right? So it is returns my footer component. Let's go to app.js, copy the code for the footer. Here is a footer, right? This is my footer. Just gonna copy that into my here. Returns it doesn't return anything, just this footer, the footer part. Try to separate it from the main code. And we need to export it, so I can import it from the other file. Export default footer. Right, so I just separate out the footer out, and in the app.js, if I want to use in the footer, same thing. You're gonna import it. Go to top. Import footer from the path is gonna be // right, current folder, and go to the components folder, // components, and // footer.js. footer. And now the footer is imported. I can use the code from it. So at the bottom of this page, instead of using this whole code here, I can remove that. I can just say I want to using the footer tag. Footer tag. Now this footer tag represents the 3 lines of code here. And this footer code can be reused multiple times. You have 2 footer, 3 footer, you can just keep copy that. But in this case, only need the 1. You're gonna see the page didn't change. It's still working the same way, but we make the footer code into a separate file.
There has to be a space with that footer.
Space here? No, that has to be. But just making it more readable. Yeah, that has to be. You can just do it like that.
What is JavaScript? There's no divs in between that because
yeah, we're using the footer tag. You can use div. It doesn't make any difference. You know, the footer tag and div tag, they're basically the same thing. Alright, let's keep separating stuff. So as I said, I'd like to make the form into a separate component. So I'm gonna create a new component, still in the components folder, right? Still in the components folder. I'm gonna make I'm gonna call it bookmark form.js. I can give it any name you like. So just make sure the name makes sense to you. Because in the future, you're making more and more components. You don't want to confuse yourself. So make sure the name makes sense to you. And this time, I'd like to introduce an anon for you. So if you go to the anon extensions here, search for ES7 React. And this anon, the first one here, I suggest you to install this one. I'll quickly introduce you how that works. So once you install this one, all right, let's come back to here. Instead of create like an import React, create a function by myself, I can just type RFC. That stands for rendering a function component. Hit tab. It's gonna do the whole thing for you. You don't have to type this part by yourself. Like it's basically just you just want to create the import React and you want to create a function RFC. It's just going to do the whole thing for you. Right, again, extensions, type ES7 React. It's a whole the extension name is called like that. Right, it's called ES7 oops, sorry, didn't want to go here. It's called ES7 React Redux GraphQL React native snippets. So it's provide a lot of like shortcuts here. Has IMP, IMN, a lot of them. I'm gonna using a couple of the snippets here to make our coding easier. I don't have to type the whole thing. I just need to do a RFC or RFCE if you want export at the bottom. And if you want to rendering your arrow function, it's gonna be rendering a arrow function component, and yeah, RAFCE. It's gonna be a you know arrow function, but it's the same thing, just a different shortcut. It's very convenient. All right, so that is a bookmarks form component, and let's grab some code from app.js to here, so I don't need to have everything in my app.js. Right, so in app.js, I'm gonna go to the top here, grab the form. I'm gonna grab the whole jumbotron. I'm gonna grab the whole jumbotron from this div. Keep going to the end of the div. I think it's from here to here. Yeah. So I'm gonna cut that and put that into the bookmarks form. Put that inside here. All right. So let's move to the bookmarks form. And in the app.js, again, we're gonna import it to use the code there. So we're gonna say import bookmarks form from /components folder /bookmark form file. And now I can, using the bookmark form tag inside the original place, bookmark form place. And I'm going to get in some errors because some functions should be inside this file, and now it's not. I'm going to fix that. But now the page is not showing, getting some errors. So we're going to check in the errors one by one. First line says submit is not defined because submit is still in the app.js. We're going to looking for that app.js submit. All right, so this function. This function also should be moved to the bookmarks form because that's a function only used in over there. So let's copy that function. It should be from here to here. All right, submit function. I'm gonna cut that into the bookmarks form. It should be inside here. All right, some still have errors. Site name is not defined. Again, site name is still in the app.js. We're gonna go to app.js, grab it, set name, set the URL. There's two things. Those two things should be in the bookmark form because those are things only used over there. So let's cut it, bring that to the bookmark form, and put it right before the submit. Put it here. And these two things are using the use state. So I'm gonna import the use state here. Use state. And let's keep saying, set bookmarks is not defined. Again, we're gonna grab the bookmarks. The bookmarks is using both in the app.js and in the bookmarks form. They're using that in the two places. So in this case, we need to we're gonna pass in the bookmarks and set the bookmarks from the app.js into the bookmarks form. I'm going to pass in from app.js into bookmarks form. The way we do it is when I call this tag here, I can pass in the bookmarks as an attribute here. It's going to call the properties inside here. It's equal to the bookmarks I have here, and the set bookmarks is equal to the set bookmarks I have here. I'm passing these two things into there, as properties for the bookmarks form. So the bookmarks can use this to have some typo here. Bookmarks and set bookmarks. And in the bookmark form JS, to accept those two things, you will need to, in the parentheses here, you need to see, put a curly brace, and accept the bookmarks, and accept the set bookmarks from the app.js. You're gonna put a curly brace and put this thing, two things inside it. Right, now it says compile successfully, and things should still working. Right, little bit, so you can see the code inside the app.js becomes much shorter. And I'll separate the code into different files right now. Right, so
there's one more thing we can separate out is the bottom part, right? The search box has the M symbol, has a Facebook list. I want to separate this thing out as well. That's the last thing I want to separate out. So I'm going to create another component in the components folder. I'm going to call it bookmark list.js. Again, we're going to have a R rendering a function component. Right. So you can also export at the top here. It's the same thing. Right? You can export at the bottom or export here. So both works. I usually just put it at the bottom to make it more readable. Again, this time let's copy the code from the app.js. I'd like to put this div. Right, this div, the list div, contains a map. This whole thing. Cut it from here to the bookmark list. And in the app.js, I can just import it. I'm going to import bookmark list from /components/bookmark list. And I can use it here, bookmark list. So I'm going to call this tag at the original place here, bookmark list. You can see the app.js becomes like a shorter and shorter. It contains like a very short, only have like a few lines of code right now. And again, the bookmark list, we need to move some functions from the app.js into here. So the things here should be this again. Firstly, read the error messages. First thing we need is bookmarks copy. Right, that's something should be inside the bookmarks list. Are we using the bookmarks copy somewhere here? Yeah, we're gonna pass in the bookmarks copy and bookmarks set the bookmarks copy from the app.js into the bookmark list. So again, the same way, we're gonna say the bookmark copy is equal to the bookmarks copy, passing that as a property. Bookmarks copy and the set bookmarks copy is equal to the set bookmarks copy. Passing these two things into the bookmark list, and the bookmark list need to receive this too. So I'm gonna have in the parentheses as a parameter, I'm gonna accept the bookmarks copy and set bookmarks copy, two parameters. It's all about setup. Alright, and the bookmarks list also needs a remove bookmark function. This is a function only using in the list. I can just directly grab the whole functions from the app.js to here. So the remove bookmarks function is right here. It is from here to here. Just copy that, grab that to bookmark list for the return. This one also needs the bookmarks and set bookmarks. So instead of bookmarks copy, I also need to pass in besides this two, I also need the bookmarks and the set bookmarks this two as well. I'm gonna also copy this two to the bookmarks list. I need 4 of them. And in the bookmark list, let me accept this too. So it need to accept the bookmarks and set bookmarks. Now it says compile successfully. Passing the things it needs, and it should show the original file as well. Right. So all the things are basically just trying to separate the code into different files. So the app.js becomes very short. It should only have like a few lines of code right now. Right. It originally has 100 lines code, and right now it's 50. And the code are separated into different files. to make it, separate the concerns. Like bookmark list, take care about the list. Bookmarks form, take care about the form. And app.js, take care about the combine. It's like a place where everything come together to meet up. Right. So app.js has the form, the list, and the footer combined in this place. And this is the usual setup, like for React application. You can see most of React application set up like this, in this format. Right, the index.html connected to index.js and connect to the app.js. And app.js contains like multiple different components.